Hey guys, happy Thursday. I wanted to go ahead and show you what we're going to have available here tonight on Instagram at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This is my newest collection of Cute as a Button books. So these journals have been made using vintage quilts. This one here particularly was made using vintage feed sack material. And this is most likely anywhere from the early 30s to mid 40s. So this is pretty old. Now, because these are all made from vintage quilts, you're going to have the normal wear and tear of vintage quilts. You're going to have little bits of the cotton batting peeking through. You're going to have little gaps where the fabric has just worn away with wash, and I think it just adds to the charm. But what I'm so amazed with is the color quality after all these years. The colors are just still so phenomenal. And look at the hand stitching. I mean, it's just amazing, the hand stitching on these. So I am going to have these journals available tonight, and they're all made using the vintage quilts, and the insides are lined with either vintage fabrics or new fabrics. A couple are even lined with vintage feed sack cloth. Each of these journals have on the cover a vintage kitschy nursery animal that has been printed onto what's a quilting cotton that you can run through your printer and heat set, and then it's all been blanket stitched on, and each one has vintage and antique buttons. This one right here, this button, we know it's at least 100 years old. It could be much, much older. It's a vintage glass button, a mother of pearl button, a vintage inkwell button, lots of fun buttons on them. Each journal is going to come with a 3-ribbon charm, or not a charm, but a 3-ribbon streamer, I guess you should say, and is going to come tied closed with more of this fun silky ribbon. And each one has 2 signatures. All of them on the inside are nearly identical. They have the same papers. They each have a handkerchief pocket and a vintage playing card. Those are different, but pretty much the same trims and the same ephemera. And these feature 2 of my new printables that I'm going to be releasing soon. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to, now that you know the details of these journals, and 2 signatures each in them, I'm going to show you all the covers we're going to have available tonight. So here's the first one. We have this sweet little one, this sweet little teddy bear holding the bouquet. This is from another vintage quilt, a different quilt, but still one of the really older ones, and it's just got such a neat feel to it. All the little bumps and grooves, and again, the hand stitching. And you can see, if you're familiar with the feed sack patterns and the fabrics from that era, you can see some of the different feed sack prints in here. So we've got teddy bear, and then this one we have the blue deer. I just think this one is just so sweet. More of those buttons. You can tell they're thick. These are substantial journals. This one might be one of my favorite color combos here. Open that so you can see that sweet little deer. And then if you don't want your journal, if you don't want to have it tied closed, because they will stay closed without, you can always just tie this here so that you have an extra little ribbon streamer, or just do as you please with that ribbon, but they will stay closed on their own. I just like, for if you're going to go traveling or you're going to take this somewhere, put it in your bag, that you have the ability to have it all tied shut in case you have lots of little goodies that you don't want to fall out. Some of these gorgeous vintage buttons, some of the early plastics, and the Bakelite and Cassines, and the glass and mother of pearl. And then we have this sweet little bluebird. And so each one is lined with something that coordinates with it. So for example, this one has this fun vintage material in it. For time's sake and for how long it has taken last time for the IGTV videos to load, I'm not going to do a flip through of every single one because they are very much the same on the inside, with the exception of the differences of the fabrics and the hanky pockets and the playing card, but it will be one of these cute little animal playing cards. So this sweet little teddy bear here, I just love this button. This button was a hard one to part with, so whoever gets this journal, that's my favorite button. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. We have this one, and I like this one because this one has lots of pinks and almost peaches and yellows to it, and the greens. And so this one is actually lined with a fun fat quarter that came from one of my favorite sewing shops called Sunny Day Supply. And when this came with my last order, I was like, oh, that's perfect. It's gonna go so well with this cover. So there's that one. And, oh, one last one. And then we have this one here. With the cute little lamb on it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do a flip through of this one. Just gonna pop up real quick, make sure. Okay. So there's 2 signatures in each journal, two good size signatures, and they're held in by the elastics, which can be adjusted. So here we go. Let's look into this journal. Mint and polka dots and eyelet trim. This is a gorgeous vintage trim that I got at a local shop. It's got lots of really pretty embroidery on it. So we have lots of pastel, gender neutral pages in here. If you want to use it for a nursery themed journal, if you want to use it for sewing, for honestly, whatever. The theme basically within these journals is just the kitschy cute little animals and pastels. This is some of the new trim that came from Sunny Day Supply that I absolutely love. Here's one of my new printables. This one I made a little bit larger for this particular journal. And I do not yet have my printables available, but I will soon. A little button on there, some vintage fabric swatches, some of the vintage kindergarten paper. So basically you have a pastel rainbow inside these journals, and then you have a hanky pocket. Now some of the hankies in these journals are a little more pristine than others. This happens to be one that's in really good condition. Some of them do have some age spots to them, you know, just like some of the quilts have some wear and tear because of them being vintage, but I just think that kind of adds to the charm rather than takes away. Each one has one of my little confetti shakers and doilies and pom-poms. I went a little bit nuts on trim with this batch of journals. I just kept adding more textiles to it and different things. And then you have a bingo card pocket here, which I have stuffed another little sweet animal in to paper doilies. So if you've noticed here, we have a double ruffle, light pink and the bubblegum pink, and then here's the beginning of our next signature. And this is actually also a little tuck spot. Little pocket there with this vintage eyelet trim. fun little tag here that has a vintage ticket on it and has been made using vintage chenille that has been stitched on, and vintage buttons and some new buttons and more little buttons. It's a cute little taggy to add there. I've been having fun with chenille lately. Some of you have been following my stories, and I'm working on 2 patchwork quilts for Sunny May. One is all vintage sheet material, and the other one is all vintage chenilles for her big girl bed. So I was having fun getting to be able to use a little bit of that chenille here on these tags. More ruffles and pom-poms. And so every journal is going to have this color scheme of papers in, and pretty identical in papers. The layout may be different in a few of them. Each one is going to have one of these sweet little playing cards. Some are bunnies, some are lambs, some are chicks, some are geese. Each one will have the chenille tag and the little animals and the bingo pocket. They're all going to come with one of my new button cards. And they'll all each come with one of these. This one is also one of my new printables, and I will be sure to keep you guys posted once I'm ready to release those. And there's 2 of the vintage pink inkwell buttons stitched on to there. Some more trim. So lots and lots and lots of pages in here for you to be able to journal away and create and collage and add recipes or photos, or honestly just whatever your heart desires to these journals. And the covers have been made substantial enough where you can really add lots of layers and embellishments. Aren't these just the sweetest little tiny buttons? Those came from my friend Emily. I think those are just the sweetest. So, good chunky journal. There will be 8 of these available tonight. And in addition to those, I am going to have 5 covers available. So these ones here are covers only. They have the tie closure, and they have the 3 ribbon streamer, the vintage buttons. They're made of the vintage quilt scraps, same kitschy cute little animal. This one here is lined in one of my favorite strawberry prints. And then here is another cover, this sweet little bunny.
Mom,
Yes, sweet girl.
I need to talk to them.
You need to talk to them? What do you need to tell them? Okay, you can say that.
Okay. I love you because Mama loved me. Because who's so nice, because who would make pretty dresses and pretty. What you making me? I'll go to sleep.
For going to sleep? Oh, your quilt?
I fell. I might go eat some cereal. I have milk in my cereal.
You did have milk in your cereal. Okay.
Okay, I love you.
Do you want to? Oh, you're so sweet. I love you too. Do you want to show this one? Do you want to put this one on top of that one?
Yeah. Because this one have a bunny.
It does have a bunny.
I do.
Do you want to show the inside of it? Go ahead and open it up. Show the inside. Good job.
All of this.
Yeah.
Flowers.
Vintage flowers. Okay, let's put.
This one.
Okay, put that one
I'm
up.
going to do this one.
Okay,
Okay.
show that one.
A bear.
Oh,
A bear.
What's the bear doing?
A bear, Bessie, and a ducky swimming in some water.
Yeah. Do you want to open up this one?
Freddy flowers. A lot of Freddy
A
flowers.
lot of pretty flowers. And can you tell them this is a vintage feed sack print?
This is thing. What is it then?
Vintage feed sack.
That's a fish pack.
Yeah. You want to show the last one?
Do this one.
Yeah, you can show the last one.
Okay.
Okay. Let's put it right here where the camera is. See the phone?
Hey. See a little bear and a bird. And a bear doing this.
Yeah. Let's put it this way so they can see it because the camera's filming that way. There we go.
And this should have pretty flowers.
Yeah. So, if you caught that, Sunny May was just telling you all about lots of different things and that her milk had cereal on it, or her cereal had milk on it this morning, and that she likes that Mommy makes pretty things. So here's the covers.
Mommy, can I do this one?
Mommy already showed that one. You can put it on again though if you want. Go ahead, put it up there. So Sunny's gonna just go ahead and show you this last one.
Okay.
We're not gonna go all the way through it though. Just tell them what's on the front. What is that?
A reindeer and a butterfly on the tail.
Oh, it's so cute. Can you tell everybody, say, come back at 6 p.m.?
Come back at 6:15.
Pretty close. All right. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And everything in here. See everything.